In this video, we look at WASSCE General or Core Mathematics 2023 objective question number 2, the Nigerian paper, and it reads that there are 30 students in the class. 15 study woodwork and 13 study metalwork. 6 study neither of the two subjects. How many students study woodwork but not metalwork? Before we start, if today is your first time on my Students Class channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button so that you'll be promptly informed anytime we upload a new video. And hey, one more thing, click the like button so that the video can reach a lot of people. Thank you. Now let's continue. Now, one way that we can solve this is to use the Venn diagram. There is a two-set problem because it talks about two things here. We have woodwork and we have metalwork. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram for a two set. So that's what I'm going to do. First, I'll draw one circle and I'll draw the other to intersect it, and I'll draw a rectangle around this. And let me label these circles. The first one is going to be woodwork. So the number of elements in woodwork equals, I'm told that 15 study woodwork, so that is going to be 15. And the number of elements in metalwork, I'm told that 13 study metalwork, so that's going to be here. I'm not giving the intersection, that is the number of students who study both woodwork and metalwork. So I'll say that let's the number of students who study woodwork and metalwork be equal to x, so that means I'll have x here. Now, if you look at what I have here, the entire circle here is 15, and if part of it is x, then it means what is left here is going to be 15 minus the x. Okay, and in the same vein, the whole of this circle is 13, and I'm told here part of it is x, so what is left here is going to be 13 minus x. Now there is another information that is pretty important here. It says that 6 study neither of the two subjects, so that is, there is a complement there. That is the number of elements in woodwork union the metalwork or complement is 6, or you can say the number of elements in woodwork complement intersection metalwork complement is 6. So let me put the 6 here, anywhere here. Okay, and of course the universal set is 30 because there are 30 students in the class. So it means that when I add everything here, it should be equal to 30. That is everything in the rectangle. So I'm going to have the first item here is this here, and that is what 15 minus x plus the x here plus 13 minus x plus the 6, and this should be equal to 30. So let me see how I simplify this here. I have negative x cancelling positive x here, and let me add this to that. 15 plus 13, that is going to be 28, and when I add 8 to 6, it will be 34. So 34 and I have minus x equals 30. So I'm going to find x here, and to do that I have to subtract 34 from both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to have negative x equals 30 minus 34, and that's going to be negative x equals negative 4. So I will divide both sides by negative 1 because I want to find x. In other words, I want to make x the subject, so that will give me x to be positive 4. So that means the number of students who study both woodwork and metalwork is 4 here. All right, but the question does not ask me to find the number of students who study both woodwork and metalwork. It says that how many students study woodwork but not metalwork. Now that is woodwork. So if I want woodwork but not metalwork, it means I have to cut out the metalwork. I have to cut this out. So what is left here is the number of students who study woodwork but not metalwork. So we write this as the number of students in woodwork intersection metalwork complement, and that is equal to 15 minus x. But we have found x to be 4, so that is going to be 15 minus 4, and that is 11. So that is option C, and that is the correct answer. Now another way that you can solve this is you can try not to you can decide not to use the Venn diagram. Let us try to also solve this here. First, let's gather the data. So there is an alternative approach here. if you don't want to use the Venn diagram, this is what you can do. First, let's try to put down data. The universal set is 30, and we are told that the number of those who do woodwork is 15. Yeah. And we are also told the number of those studying metalwork is 13, and we are also told those who do not study any of the two courses, that is metalwork union woodwork or complement, is 6. That is the data we have here. Now we can use this formula, which is obtained of course from the Venn diagram, that is the number of students in the universal set. In this case, because we are dealing with just two sets, that is going to be just the W union the M, that is the woodwork union the metalwork, that forms the universal set here. But we have to be very careful here because we have 6 year, we have to include a 6 years. So let's get back to this because we have some students who don't study any of the two, so we have to get to the entire universal set here. So in this case, I will use U here instead. If we had no complement, then of course I would have used this. So the number of students in woodwork and the number of students in metalwork minus the intersection woodwork intersection metalwork, and of course because we have complements too, I have to add that one too. So that's going to be the number of students in woodwork union metalwork or complement. So this is going to be the entire equation here. So it's going to be 30 equals woodwork is 15, you see it here, so I'll just put out here, and metalwork is 13 here, and the number of students who study both I don't know, so let's that be say X here. I'll put X here, so let this be equal to X, so I have X here. And those who do not study any of the two, of course I know that to be 6. So let me do some arithmetic here. 15 plus 13, that is 28, and plus 6, that is 34. So I have 34 minus X, and let me make X the subject. So I can decide to subtract 34 from both sides of the equal sign equally. I can also add X to both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to do the first one. I will subtract 34 from this side, and I'll subtract 34 from this side, and I'll have negative X here. So I'm going to have negative 4 equals negative X. And if I want to find X, it means I have to divide both sides of the equal sign by negative 1. All right, so the question says that how many students study woodwork but not metalwork? So woodwork but not metalwork. So that is what the question wants. The question wants us to find the number of students who study woodwork intersection metalwork complement. So that's going to be the number of students in woodwork minus the number of students in woodwork intersection metalwork. So that is going to be our equation. It means we take the woodwork and then we take out the intersection of the woodwork and the metalwork, and that is going to be the number of students who study the woodwork is 15, and those who study both is X. But we know X, don't we? Of course we do. So that's going to be 15 minus 4, and that is 11. So that is another way that you can also approach the question or solve it.